6 fucking years, and here we are. We're finally back. Hello and welcome. I'm Liam, the music reviewer, and today we're going to be quickly chatting about the new Harmony Hall 2021 tracks from Vampire Weekend, a band, one of the best of the decade, and I'm really sorry if I seem so frazzled and just kind of like just out of it. But this has been a long time. This has been a long time coming. 2013 was when Modern Vampires of the City came out. One of the best albums of that year. Just so charming, cutesy, so lovingly made. I just can't put into words right now without totally just taking over what the actual topic of today's review is. And yeah, these new tracks come after a long wait. Also Rostam, who is a very crucial member to the band, had left off to do some solo work, and apparently Rostam produced Harmony Hall, so he hasn't quite gone away yet, and I'm happy that he still has some sort of contribution. Back to the rest of the review. So there's always a worry that after all this time it was just gonna maybe just not be quite the same, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but there was always that worry for a lot of Vampire Weekend fans. This new album right now has the abbreviation FOTB, which I think is going to be something on the something. Apparently they're wanting everyone to guess what it could be. Let's go for, I've got a few ones here, but I'm going to go for Freedom of the Bees, because bees are pretty cool and should be free, so let's just go for that one just now. But let's see if these songs themselves are cool. And Harmony Hall is the big kahuna, the main draw of this single release. It sounds very similar to Modern Vampires of the City. Just that whole, like I say, just like the craftsmanship is just there. It's really hard to pinpoint what I'm trying to get at here, but let's just talk about the actual what it consists of, because the guitar loop on here is stunning. They actually put like 2 hours of it up yesterday because Vampire Weekend are just constantly at it. They've no change. The Edra just still has that like funny bone to them. They also did like this thing back in 2013, I think it was, where Steve Buscemi like did the kind of documentary series with them, so they've always had a bit of a sense of humour there. But this sounds so much like a Primal Scream track as well. It just feels like it's constantly just like uplifting and rising, just like you're ascending to like the sun, but you're not getting set on fire on the way there. And just every little thing about it just feels so polished. It's like that Toy Story 2 scene where Woody's just getting like that almost ASMR kind of like level quality to it. I was listening to this the first time around, and I was just sort of just taken aback, but I wasn't even really taking into consideration the lyrics. There's a throwback to Fingerback off Modern Vampires of the City. I don't want to live like this, but I don't want to die. Ezra's vocals, by the way, like they just don't age. Like how are they still so good? I know that like they started off quite young, so like it's not that huge a jump, but still, man, still so nice. The lyrical contents of this, it does seem quite political, talking about like the stone walls of Harmony Hall, which is meant to be this whole thing about like, I think, like class and like entitlement and privilege and that. So it's obviously going to have something to do with Trump there, just because if like you release a song like that, there's going to be comparisons. But I think just it seems quite universal, like even if like say we were in a timeline where Trump didn't exist, this whole thing about how there's such a divide, and using just the way that Edra words himself here. He's always been a great lyricist, and yeah, I think the way he goes about doing it here it's just impeccable, just absolutely impeccable. Because I've listened to it about 3 or 4 times now, so this isn't really a first reaction, but still I was just delighted by it, especially during the 3-minute mark. If you listen to it, you'll know what I mean, where just it kind of goes like more of like a pure instrumental. The guitars seem like they're almost melting and get quite twangy. It's just pure bliss. It's utterly delightful. I'm so happy with this song. Like like Jane, look at this smile. Is this smile fake? I couldn't fake a smile like this. I'm so happy with this song. in 2021 as well, it's more of like it's a briefer song. It's a briefer song. I think it's almost like an interlude of sorts. It might even be the intro track. But it's very much kind of talking about just the band, or it might just be Ezra himself. I feel like you could work it as a song about a relationship, about two people, about being sort of like worried about them forgetting you, something kind of like a very universal thing, like meta narrative about how they're worried that they're going to be forgotten. Some specific lines that I remember from it, saying about how copper goes green and steel goes rust. Just yeah, it feels very honest. It feels very transparent. And I don't know. I always feel like Vampire Weekend have had a knack for doing that, making like the most like miscellaneous, minute of things just sound so whimsical and like feel like AAA like literature or something like that. So 2021 does a really good job of that, and does that only in about a minute and a half. It's got the tiniest amount of like trap instrumentation with the hi-hats. I was just like listening to it and I was going like, I mean, with the experience that Ezra's had, like just not even just like the folk he's brushed shoulders with, but also he's worked with Subtract. Is that what their name is? New York. So like that would make sense, like with that kind of like that experience. But yeah, feels more like an interlude, but it's still lovely nonetheless, and just makes this little single release feel like just a package that I was just delighted to open up, that I will be listening to a fair amount, and I'm just so glad that I've got like something that's made me so happy this early in the year. In fact, there's been some good albums this year, but I was so worried about like a big return from one of my favourite acts, and the fact that I just from a critical standpoint, like as a fan, I fucking love this, but like as a critic, I can look at this and go, you know what, like it might not be the biggest jump, but everything about it is so polished, so refined, that I really can't see. I can maybe see people thinking, oh, this isn't like a dramatic shift or that, but I feel like they're still just as their music still feels as grandiose, but still feels as so like homemade, which is a really hard thing to pull off, especially after so long away. So I can't wait for this new album. We'll find out what FOTB actually stands for. But if you guys have listened to this, let me know what you made of it. And as always, guys, stay safe and stay hydrated.